G'day guys, Kerry here from Good Blokes, and if you know me, you hopefully also know I don't do things by halves. So when I started wanting to talk a little bit more about mental health, actually no, I don't want to talk about mental health. I'm a little wary at the moment that we're kind of metavising mental health. We're turning it into a hashtag that we put on the bottom of our Instagram posts. And I don't think we need to be talking about it in the third party. What I want to do is start sharing some of my story and other people's stories, other good blokes' stories, in the hope that we can learn from each other, rather than talking about it in the abstract. And there's a particular subject that's coming up which hasn't been talked about much, and we had some recent legislative changes that has affected that. And I'm going to talk about that in a different video because this is not what that video is about. What this video is about is part of that project. I reached out to Mike King. Mike King is a legend. He's been through a lot of stuff, changed his life for the better, and is on a bit of a mission. So I wanted to chat to him about a few things. But while we were doing that, he started sharing what his passion is and his mission, and that is looking after the kids, helping the kids, and in particular, the suicide rate we have even in kids. We have kids committing suicide in New Zealand at a regular basis, and that's pretty messed up. So while this was pretty off subject for what I wanted to talk to him about, I'm just want to give him the airtime and promote this message as much as all of us can, because it's an important one. He's on an important mission, and we need to help share and amplify that and make some change. So, our kids, I have 2 kids now, 2 little girls. They're growing up in a weird, weird world, and we need to do what we can to make sure the next generation and the generation after that and the generation after that are set off in the right way. We do that by being better blokes. That's part of the reason of the recent name change for the website. But yeah, so Mike King, the stage is yours. Thank you very much for your time again, mate.
We do need to start normalizing at a school level mental health issues and make it not so taboo. And the reason it's such a taboo subject, particularly talking to someone about mental health issues or talking to a counsellor, the reason it is considered to be a mental health issue right from school. The only way a young person can access free government counselling is they must go to a doctor. Then the doctor has to diagnose them with a mental health issue. Now that label follows that child for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
For the rest of their life, that label. So automatically, they're considered to be tainted and mentally ill for the rest of their life. Now, people say to me all the time, they say, oh, but things are changing, it's becoming more normal. No, it's not. There is still the stigma involved with mental health. And the easiest way to prove it, anyone who's watching this, next time you're with your friends and they say, hey, Mike, how you doing? Oh, mate, had to take my eldest in to see a counsellor. Say those words. I had to take my eldest in to see a counsellor. You will get this reaction. Oh, really, mate? Oh, shit. Oh, is there anything I can do? Is there anything? I didn't know things, but do you see what I mean? It's that reaction, because automatically we think anyone who goes to see a counsellor is mentally ill. Mm. The world's changed. Our young people don't want to go and see a counsellor because they're mentally unwell. They go to see counsellors to stay well. Yep. And the same as fat blokes don't go to the gym to become All Blacks. They go to the gym to stay alive. They are proactively taking care of their physical health and our kids are proactively taking care of their mental health. Why do they need counsellors to talk? Why can't they just talk to the bloody parents, mate? You got to talk to the bloody parents.
Yeah.
Look. So here's what I know: 40% of kids in school, and I've spoken to over 250,000 kids, listened to over 250,000 kids in this country, more than every single person at the Ministry of Health put together. 40% of kids in school will have a major crisis before they leave school. Not in their life, before they leave school, often associated with some type of suicidal thinking, whether it's a one-off thought or whether it's a recurring thought that grinds them down on a daily basis. 40% of kids will have a suicidal thought before they leave school. Now, most parents freak out when they hear, oh my God, 40% of kids. Look, 100% of people watching this video right now, 100%, whether you want to admit it or not, you've had a suicidal thought. If you haven't left your house at least once in your life, going, what's the fucking point?
Yep.
Then you need to get out of the marshmallow you're living in. Seriously. You know, having a thought doesn't make us mentally ill. It makes us human. You know, it's our ability to look at options that separates us from animals. Like animals have two thoughts. That's food or run like fuck. That's it, right? So the stat that we should all worry about is 80% of kids who have suicidal thoughts, and 80% of your mates who are watching this video right now never ask for help. 80% of people who have suicidal thoughts never ask for help ever. And when you dig deep and ask the reason why, there are three reasons with kids. Four, sorry. One, they don't ask for help because they're worried about what we are going to think. They don't ask for help because they're worried about what we are going to say. And number three, they are worried about what we are going to do with that information. But the number one reason kids don't reach out and ask for help, and I've asked them all the suicidal kids, the number one reason kids come back to me, why don't you tell mum and dad? Because I don't want to disappoint them. Think about that.
Yep.
I'm not going to tell you because I don't want to disappoint you. My parents have sacrificed so much to get me here. They've sacrificed everything they have. Mum works 2 jobs, dad works 2 jobs. They've given me I don't want to now tell them that I'm ungrateful by telling them I want to die. So kids need a third party to talk to. Why do they need a third party? Well, they're living in a world of perfect adults now. Every child is living in a world of perfect adults who are constantly telling them about the sacrifices I made to get you where you are here today. When I was your age, your father and I, we lived in a cardboard box. Your dad left at school when he was 15. He married me at 16. We had you at 17, and he built the business up from the ground, and you're so ungrateful. So our kids they're living in this world of perfect adults where everyone's got their shit together.
Well,
yet they're sitting there going,
at least
I'm never going to reach that goal. I'm never going to make it. I am never going to be you. And the biggest problem in mental health now is grinding them down. Their little inner critics going, it's just you. You're never going to be good enough. You're always pissing your parents off. Nobody cares about you. So counselling is important, and normalising the need for counselling is the most important shift that we can make in this country. Our government sees counselling as a last resort. It should be the first fence at the top of the cliff. We need to reframe. So how we think about counselling. I had a government official, an advisor to a front bench Labor MP who rang me up and said, you know what the problem with Gumboot Friday is, Mike? And I go, no, tell me. Anyone can access it. What do you mean? You don't even have to be mentally ill to go and see a counsellor. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Well, what's the fucking problem with that? Yeah. Well, you know, I've got... This is why you fucking morons are in the trouble that you're in, because you see counselling as a last resort. What's happening at the moment is the only way a kid can access, they've got to go to a doctor. The doctor prescribes them as mentally ill. Then they go on a long waiting list. They wait an excruciatingly long amount of time before getting in front of a burnt-out mental health worker. Now, the problem we've got is our mental health frontline workers are Formula One mechanics, right? They're the best in the fucking business, but they're dealing with highly tuned engines. You turn that screw 1 millimeter too far left or right, the whole engine blows up. But because doctors are covering themselves now, little Joey comes in and goes, I had this little thought last night. And the doc's sitting there and goes, well, you know what? I think you're going to be fine. But then that little wee switch in the back of his head goes, oh, my God, what if something bad happens and little Joey's not fine? Just to be safe, I'll put you into the mental health system. So they go straight from, a little unstable to crisis. So our frontline mental health workers right now are doing oil changes on Toyota Corollas rather than working on the engine. So the idea that we had with Gumboot Friday was to put a protective wall in front of our crisis mental health teams, having our kids voluntarily go to counsellors before they get unwell. Counsellors sit with them for a couple of sessions, and then they decide whether these kids should go on to the crisis team. But in the meantime, holding back that wall of kids that are causing a choke point down at the crisis end. Unfortunately, the problem we have is a dumb hoary who left school at 15 came up with the idea. He's not an academic or a clinician who the Ministry of Health loves, so they're never going to adopt the idea because of institutional arrogance. And that's all it is. It's just institutional arrogance. We've become a country that focuses on the behavior rather than a country that asks ourselves, what drives that behavior? I see the Minister of Health just announced they've got this new program to counter P. So they've got two options in the P war, right? One, let's lock up all the dealers. Every dealer you put in jail, there's 20 dealers to take their place. The second one is let's start building a whole lot of recovery units. Again,
it's bottom.
We are working on a solution before we know what the problem is.
Yeah.
If you want to stop the P epidemic, ask yourself, why do so many New Zealanders of all ethnicities, of all economic groups, of all ages, why do so many Kiwis feel the need to be on the drugs in the first place? Once you figure out what's driving people towards the drugs, and I can tell you what it is right now, you're useless. Everyone else is better with overthinking. Everyone's overthinking. Our inner critics are smashing us. And the only thing that can shut up an inner critic is drugs and alcohol. Imagine your inner critic is a crying newborn baby with colic, screaming hateful messages 24/7. If you're sitting in that room locked up with that baby, getting pissed is the option. Getting drunk is like leaving the baby in the bedroom, going into the lounge and just escaping yourself for a couple of hours. You just, I can still hear the baby crying, but it's at a level that I can
deal with.
I can live with. It just gives me a momentary escape. Only problem is a buzz only lasts 5 or 6 hours. 5 or 6 hours later, I'm now back in the room. The baby's screaming louder and I've got a headache. And the only way to get over that, get wasted again. And get wasted again. And get wasted again. So the biggest problem in mental health today is an overactive inner critic. We're all overthinking shit. Everyone's pretending they've got their shit together. The first rule in mental health is no one has got their shit together, but we're all pretending we do. And it's having a devastating effect on our kids, because when you're surrounded by perfect people every single day, that is the perfect environment for your inner critic to say, you're useless, it's just you. So we collectively, as parents, as aunties, as uncles, as good blokes and citizens of New Zealand, if we really want to help people, if we really want to pass on something that our kids can take and become better human beings too, we need to take off our masks of perfection, stop pretending we've got our shit together, and be more vulnerable, particularly the blokes, these big hunting blokes who are running around, and pretending they've got their shit together and, going out on their thing, go, look what I've got, look what I've got. We need to be more vulnerable with our kids. We are the ones that need to, when we get home from work and we've had a shit day, and little Billy comes up, go, hey Dad, how are you today? I'm fine, mate. Jeez, mate, just look, I'm fine. Just need to be left alone. Get in the bloody kitchen. Get Dad a beer.
Grab me a beer and watching some TV. Yep.
But little Billy is now walking to the fridge, and his inner critic's going, what the hell did you do to Dad? You're always pissing Dad off. You're never going to be good enough. When the correct response should be, when you get home and you've had a shit day, your kids know you've had a shit day. They can read you. So little Billy comes, how's your day, Dad? Oh, mate, I had a prick of a day. My boss is an asshole. He made me do all of this shit. I knocked the forklift over, and now my inner critic smashed me, telling me what a dickhead I am. But you know what, mate? Because you came up and you asked me about my day, you've made me feel better, man. Thank you, legend. Thank you. Now get Dad a beer. I'll be on the couch.
Come and join me.
Yeah, but as the kid is walking to the fridge now, his mindset is, wow, you helped your hero. Way to go, man. So, I'm now part of the solution rather than being part of the problem. So, again, we're always focused on the behavior, particularly the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Justice and the Ministry of the Ministry of all the ministries. We're more focused on the behavior or the problem without fully understanding what the problem is. Now, I'll tell you how I know that the inner critic is the biggest problem in mental health. You mentioned the 800-odd deaths through self-inflicted gunshot wounds, or the 700-odd deaths. Every single one of those people wasn't sitting down with a loaded gun going, wow, what a great day. What can I do today? Oh, I know, I'll kill myself. Yep. They were all sitting there saying the same thing. You're useless. You're a burden to everybody. Everyone will be better off without you. You're a useless piece of shit. The inner critic is the biggest problem in mental health, yet no mental health experts ever talking about it. Whenever you talk to them about what's the biggest problem in mental health today, they'll say it's the rising rates of depression, anxiety, bipolar, suicide ideation, bullying. They'll mention all of these things. They're not the biggest problem. These are all outcomes. They're all the outcomes of the biggest problem. The biggest problem today is self-talk. We are all beating ourselves up, comparing ourselves to other people who are also bullshitting and thinking we're the only ones. We need to normalize overthinking. Did I answer your question? It was a pretty good fucking story.
It was a pretty good story. Now I've got about a dozen things to go off there, so that's cool. I'll start with the last one I thought of is recently I sent myself a note. I sat my girls down and apologized to them because it occurred to me I had taken them out fishing and then barked at them because they couldn't sit still. We're talking a 5 and a 7-year-old who couldn't sit still on the wharf to do fishing. And afterwards, for days afterwards, talking a self-talk, I was like, what the hell are you doing, old man? You took your kids out because I want to take my kids out to spend time with them. And then I've kind of barked at them because I expected a 5-year-old to be able to sit on a chili bin and not move while a fish. So I apologized to them and I said, look, I've realized, Dad has realized that I want to go out with you kids. I want to spend time with you kids, and I need to be focusing on you kids and what you want to do, and that, rather than dad thinking we need to.
We should be at Rainbow's Head, moron. What are we doing here?
So what I've realized, one girl, she doesn't mind. She's happy. She went out fishing with it again. The other one, it's like, what do you want to do for a day? And she wanted to, in the end, she wanted to go out, drive around, get McDonald's, and go to a playground. I'm like, sweet. And then for me, it's a case of then going, yes, switch off your functional, productive bloke. We don't have to have an outcome. It's just you're spending time with your kids. But I think the important thing
that's, you know, what's really interesting there is the number one thing that our kids all want. You know, they're living in a world where adults are telling them what they want, what they're feeling, and what they need to do to get over it. One of the biggest things that when I go and visit suicidal kids in lockdown units, and don't get me started on the shit space they are, but when I sit there and I go, so, you know, you want to die? Yep, I want to die. Okay, cool. So what do you need?
Yeah.
And they, huh?
Yeah, what?
What do you need? What can I do for you? What's wrong? Well, no one's ever asked me that question before, and I don't know what I need. Good. Take some time. Think about what you need. Don't have to rush into an answer. Just think about what you need. Think about what a perfect world looks like in your eyes, and then we'll go from there. You know, I can't get you a 747. I can't take you on a whole holiday to Europe. I can't do any of those things, but just what's important to you? What do you need right now? And you did that with your youngest one, right? Yep. And she told you straight away, oh shit, I want to go here. Okay. I want to go there. Well, and as blokes, as I keep saying to my wife, as blokes, I fucking hate thinking. You know, when my wife's got a problem, don't fucking make me guess. I'm a man. I'm a fucking moron. Just tell me what the fuck it is I've done wrong, or tell me what the fuck it is you want, and I can do it.
And fix it.
I am a protector and a provider. I am not a guesser. You're the guesser. I don't do mind games. Just tell me. If you want me to mow the fucking lawn, I'll mow it. If you want me to vacuum dust, I don't care what it is. I just want to get it done.
Yeah.
You know?
But the challenge is then, though, is the next step for me anyway, listening to that, is then I want to go out and fix it immediately. And that's the challenge. Say with the kids, what's wrong? Oh, this is what's wrong. I want to fix it. And I'm going to start giving them suggestions. And I'm like,
there was nothing to fix there. There was nothing to fix.
I know.
You know, your daughter just wanted to go to the playground.
I still want to try and fix it, regardless. Whatever it is. I know, but I'm going to fix it.
We've got to give ourselves a break, right?
I agree.
And any women who are watching this going, yeah, you men are always trying, you get your fix it hammers out all the time. Stop just making it, you know, you do it. We all do it, particularly when it comes to our kids. We just have to understand that our kids are a generation removed from us. They are far more empathetic, sympathetic. They are far more understanding and caring than we ever were there, and they have more knowledge than we ever did. I mean, I've just sat in the I'm at my office at the moment, but I was just sitting down with my 8-year-old. I got my 8-year-old at work with me today, and she was talking to me. I've developed this program which will give schools a better understanding of where the mental health of all their students are, to help them understand, because most schools, they don't realize how low the kids' mental well-being is. We just assume it's around normal, but no one knows what. So I've developed this test anyway. So as you go through it, it's, class, blah, and it came to gender, and I had male, female, LGBTQ, and then my daughter went, where's the binary? Where's the non-binary? Where's the demi-male, demi-female, the pan, blah, blah, and all of these, and she's 8. She's 8 years old, gender fluid. I'm like, holy crap, they are just they are more understanding. I said, so who are these kids? She goes to primary school up the road. There are outwardly non-binary kids there, and that's, kids that aren't he or she, they're them and they, and it's just a natural thing. Yep. So, we don't need to fix anybody. Our job as parents is not to fix our children. Our job as parents is to give our kids the tools to allow them to fix themselves. Mm. And as they fix themselves with the tools that we are giving them, their self-esteem grows. I call it the sheep in the run parenting style.
The sheep in the
run.
Right. Okay.
When you shear a sheep, you throw it into the run, right? It hits every fence on the way to the paddock, but when he gets to the paddock, he thinks it's his idea to be there, right? Yep. The sheep are our children. We are the run. Yep. Our job is to guide our kids to the answers. Once they get to the answer, let them have the victory. So many times we guide our kids to the answers and then we go, but you wouldn't have got here without me, though, wouldn't you? We steal the glory off them. Yeah. Our job is to guide our kids. Currently, what we're doing, because it saves time, is we shear the sheep. We can't be bothered putting them in the run, so we run them to the paddock and we put them down. We go down, shear the next sheep, and we run that one to the paddock and we put it down. We shear the next sheep and we run that one to the paddock. The first sheep hasn't moved. All the grass has gone off. For fuck's sake, you pick that sheep up and you move it, go shear another. Now you got to move the other two, and then you turn around and go, why the hell don't you sheep move? Because every time we move, we get into fucking trouble. You move us. It's an empowering process that we have to undertake. Now, once a sheep finds the first paddock, they go looking for the next paddock. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Once you empower someone to find an answer, pat them on the head for getting that answer under your guidance without them realizing, they can't wait to please again. Where's the next paddock, Dad? Where's the next answer? What do you want done now? Yep. I'm in. And, we've got it into our head that this is the soft option. It's not the soft option at all. The problem that we have got is the lessons of our fathers were wrong. Every bloke who is watching this, I'm 59 years old. Every bloke who is watching this had the same father as me. And my father's rules of life were simple. As a male, I protect, I provide, and I give my kids a better option than I had. That is which means work. Mm-hmm. Just work. Focus in on the work. Protect, provide, and give my kids a better option. And the final lesson is protect, provide. Hold on, fucking Windows 62. It's the screen's frozen. Give the kids a better option, and never show fear in front of your kids. Never show fear. Always be in control in front of your kids. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. Our kids know when we're struggling, and every time we don't talk about our struggles directly with our kids, what's going on, our kids instantly make it about them. Mm-hmm. And we're back to this scenario. What did you do to mum? What did you do to dad? You're always letting them down. You're a loser. And it starts out a small thought. But over time, the accumulative effect is by the time they're 15 or 16 years old, there's no hope for you. You're a loser.
Mm. It's for me, like I have, I take a group of guys out and show them how to set up their rifles, right? And yes. I now say it at the beginning of any course or anything. It's like, right, we've probably got a group of alpha males here, and alpha males tend to make do, push through, don't worry about it, gun's not right, whatever it is, but I'm going to make it work, I'm going to set through. And I try and reframe it for them and go, look, to me, alpha is actually going, I'm going to fix this problem, what that means. And it may mean taking the time to look at the gun, look at myself, correct whatever it is, and then push through that way by actually fixing the problem, not just making do, not just getting showing this hard exterior. And I think the more I think about it, it actually takes more strength, more energy, power, and everything to be honest, to be truthful for kids and friends. That's actually
leaders don't tell people what to do; they show them what to do.
Yeah.
Don't tell me, show me. So good leadership is about, if you want your kids to talk about their problems, guess what, hotshot? You've got to talk about yours. Yeah. I mean, if you're sitting there bottling everything up, your angry little man who you say, oh, he's a bit of a fucking ruffian, that one. No, he's a very troubled child.
Yeah.
Who is mimicking you.
Yeah.
So every time, I talk about blokes about changing behaviour, it's the same. This talk that we're having today has nothing to do with the blokes that are watching this. For me, it's about your kids. We got 137 kids took their own lives last year. 137 took their own lives last year because they had no one to talk to, because they lived in a world where they thought that they were the only ones struggling, because all of their role models were perfect. All of their role models were constantly telling them what they were doing wrong, constantly highlighting the things that I'm getting right all the time in front of my kids.
Yep.
We need to be more vulnerable, and when I say vulnerable, a lot of blokes here, they go, oh, vulnerability, no, the opposite end of the spectrum, the strength. You got strength on one side, you got vulnerability on the same thing. If you look at the dictionary definition of vulnerability, it is exposing yourself to physical and emotional harm. That's the definition of vulnerability, exposing yourself to physical and mental harm. How is this strong? Aotearoa, when he jumped out of his foxhole and ran in front of those bullets to save his two mates' lives, he exposed himself to physical and mental harm. Yep. And the mental side of it is still with him today. He still gets counselling today. And no act of bravery and strength ever happens without vulnerability. Vulnerability and strength are the same thing. So by showing vulnerability, you're actually showing great strength and great power. And we need to see more. Well, we don't. Our kids need to see more of it.
Well, that's the thing. It's the fear that drives, well, certainly I'm going to speak for myself rather than necessarily every bloke, but it's fear that drives you not to, because you're worried, again, like you've said, what people are going to think, what, your peers, to a certain extent for me, what my kids are going to think. That's also been a fear for me as well, because as you said, you've got this societal drive to be the perfect dad, the perfect bloke, the perfect everything. And it's important to just reframe that and going, well, maybe we've just, I've heard a group, actually good blokes in Aussie call it the man box, which is like this box we've closed ourselves in of these limitations of what it is to be a man or a bloke. And not all of them are right. They've just sort of been adopted and take it on.
The man box is the box that was passed down by my father. It is, these are the 3 or 4 things that define a man: protector, provider, give my kids a better opportunity, and never show weakness.
Yeah.
And that's 4 sides to that box. We need to open that box up and say, look, that might have been right for that time.
Yeah.
But this is a new time. And guess what? When our kids' sons and daughters come through, the box will change again.
Yeah.
And this is what sets us apart from the animals, right? Is our ability to transform, to come up with new ideas and new plans. Are you listening, Ian Foster? New ideas, new plans, not stuck in the same fucking loser box. Sorry, I got carried away.
You wear your passion on your sleeve. It's obvious. It's all good.
Always, brother.
It's all good.